Welcome back to the channel, guys. And today we are going to be working on a SeaDoo Spark, which is kind of fun because I don't get to work on these often, which is surprising because they are one of the most common SeaDoos. I used to have one of these back in 2018 or 2019, I forget what it was. I had a 2016, which was before the IBR and trim and all that stuff came out. I had to install a manual reverse kit because they didn't even come with manual kits. But today we're going to be doing an oil change on this. Both of these are getting oil changes, and this one also needs to get a jet pump rebuild. Not sure if I'm going to get to the jet pump rebuild on this video or not, but I do want to put a video together for a oil change on this, just because, you know, I have plenty of oil changes on full size skis, but I don't have a single oil change video on a SeaDoo Spark. So it may be fairly basic, but it is something that people request. So I want to get it on channel just so there's at least a library for people to reference. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to show you everything we need here. It's a very, very easy task to do. We're going to have a extraction pump here. This is just a EWK something. I'm not sure. I use it for all the SeaDoos. Been using the same pump for years. I'll of course put that in the description for anybody that's interested. The only tool that we're going to need is a E8 inverted Torx bit. Now, it's no secret that SeaDoo loves to use Torx bits for everything, especially on the full-size SeaDoos. But on your body panels here, these are all T30s. For the oil, it's going to be a E8. You can also use a 1/4 inch, but if you don't want to strip the bolts, you're going to want to use a E8 bolt or E8 socket. We're also going to be using, if you can choose any oil. We're going to be using Liqui Moly here. I use Liqui Moly in all my skis. It's actually what I stock here. Pretty much every ski I work on will get Liqui Moly oil, or if the owner prefers, they can go with XPS. But personally, I choose to use Liqui Moly. I've done Blackstone oil analysis lab reports, and the Liqui Moly marine oil, specifically formulated for PWCs, exceeds in just about every regard. So this is the oil that we're going to be using. Of course, you are also going to need a oil filter. Now, there are plenty of aftermarket and cheap knockoff oil filters out there. Even if it's a decent one like K&N or whatever, trust me guys, you want to stick with a OEM one. This is an OEM Rotax oil filter. We're going to be using this. And of course, you're also going to need a replacement O-ring for your oil filter cap. So of course, we'll get into detail about that. But it's going to be a very, very easy process. Now, generally, when you extract the oil on these SeaDoo Sparks, very similar to the full-size skis, keep in mind these are dry sump oil systems. They are not wet sump like you do have in a car, where you have an oil pan at the bottom. These engines do not have a central oil pan. So when you are running the ski, there's about 3 or 4 different oil channels, reservoirs, I mean, and that's where the oil is being stored. So you can never fully extract all of the oil from these machines. So basically, if you have, I'm not sure what the actual capacity is on here. Let's say it's a 4 liter. You're really only going to be able to get around 1.9 liters out. It's just the nature of how things work on a dry sump oil system. That's why, you know, if the capacity is 4 liters, 5 liters, that's why you're going to get 2 for replacement, because that's how much you're going to be able to get out. So let me go ahead and prep the tools here, and then we'll go ahead and get ready for the oil change. So the first thing I'm going to do is just start the engine. We're going to get it to crank over just a few seconds. That's more than enough. You really don't even have to do that. It's just to kind of circulate the oil a tad. You're not really getting it up to temperature or anything. You're never going to be able to do that dry off of the water. But it's just, just enough to kind of get it up and running. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and pull off our oil cap here. And you'll see our dipstick and fill tube there. Now, if you look at the back of your cap, you're going to notice that this is slotted in a way that you can go ahead and put it onto your oil dipstick, just like so, and then twist it. And that's how you're going to go ahead and loosen your oil dipstick enough to go ahead and pull it out. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to bring my rag over just because there's going to be some oil in it. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll go ahead and start putting the extractor in. There's our dipstick. Go ahead and slot our tool in, twist it to unlock it, and then the dipstick just comes on right out. So this oil doesn't look too bad, but it does have some color to it, so we're changing it just in time. Next, we're going to take our extraction tube here, just put it all the way down inside there. You're going to feel it bottom out, just like that. You don't want to go all the way down. You just want to pull it up a tad, because if it's all the way down, the suction end is going to be on the bottom of the pan, and then it's not going to suck anything up. So let's go ahead and start pumping our actuator, and we'll see if we start to see oil come out. We go. So we'll create a vacuum on this. Now, unfortunately, changing the oil on a SeaDoo is kind of a lengthy process. Not that it's complicated, but you're only being able to suck the oil out of this tiny straw-like thing. It's obviously going to take some time. Now, the other unfortunate thing is you can never really get these SeaDoos up to temp in order to do an oil change from the hose. If you're going out riding and you can bring it back, the engine's still hot, you might be able to drain it a little bit longer or a little bit quicker, but unfortunately you cannot run these skis on the hose for long enough to get the oil hot enough to be able to extract any faster than we're going to be able to do here. So this may take 10-15 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. Essentially, we're just going to let this go until it starts to sound like there's air bubbles in here. That means it's pulled as much as it can pull, and then I'll show you what we need to do after that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and move on over to the oil filter. I'll show you what we need to do there, and we'll go from there. So we're moving on to the left-hand side of the SeaDoo here. Now, this is actually, I'm not even sure what year this is. 2016, 2017, something like that. This does not have the engine access cover under the seat. If you were to lift the seat, there's just a emergency kit under here, fire extinguisher. It wasn't until the refresh, which was done recently in 2024 or something, I don't remember the exact year, where you actually have topside engine access to be able to get to your spark plugs. In order to change spark plugs on this generation SeaDoo Spark, you actually had to lift the entire top deck to get to them. It's not really that complicated. I have a video on how to do that, but just to keep that in mind. For our oil filter, we just need to go to the engine access cover here. You're going to twist this so that the unlock side is facing down. Basically just turn right. Right is unlock, left is lock. Then we can go ahead and put our hands behind the pull panel and just pull it off. And now you'll see we have kind of basic but limited access to the engine. This is actually fairly corroded in here. That's actually very bad. Look at that amount of salt and everything. Just wipe this on my hands, and yeah, a lot of corrosion in here. But we still have good coolant. I could see in our overflow there. And then of course we have access to our oil filter right there. So that's where you're going to see we have 1, 2, 3 E8 bolts holding that filter cap on. The filter itself is just a insertable filter, but either way, we're going to go ahead and take off those 3 E8 bolts there. Be very careful. If you drop one of those bolts, you are basically never going to get it back. Might as well have just buy a replacement. So when you are unthreading it, I recommend using your wrench to kind of crack it loose and get to the point where it's very loose, and then just go ahead and finish the rest by hand. That way you can grab those bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and take all 3 of those off right now. All 3 bolts are removed, so we can go ahead and reach in there. We'll grab the filter top and just slowly lift it out. If you're going to get oil, it's okay. And we can see our oil filter there. Oops, spilling a lot in there. So we're going to put this down. I usually like to take a look at our filters here. Oops, a little fuzzy. Just make sure we have no metal flakes or anything inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I'll show you how we can replace this. One thing I want to point out is when I pulled that filter cartridge off, you'll notice that the O-ring is still sitting on our housing. So we want to make sure that we grab that out as well. Sometimes it will come out with the filter. If it doesn't, you just want to make sure that you take this guy out as well. So I just took a look at the filter we took out. and it was in great condition, no metal flakes or anything. So let's go ahead and head over to the bench. We'll pop in the new filter. So I want to show you something about that, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall it here. So take note of the way this oil filter sits. The full-size skis have a filter that can go in either way. The SeaDoo Spark filter can only go in one way. So you notice how we have an opening with a spring there. The bottom side is completely sealed. Make sure we put that one aside, and we're gonna go ahead and put in our new filter. We can go ahead and press it into place. Now it's complete. And now we're just gonna go ahead and take our new O-ring and slide it into position. One thing I like to do is just kind of take our rag, and we're gonna clean off the perimeter surface around our cap here, because you can get a lot of sand and debris and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and clean it up. We'll put the new O-ring on, and then we'll get this reinstalled into the ski. Here's our new complete filter. So let's go ahead and bring this over to the ski to get it reinstalled. So we have our filter back in place, and we have it aligned with the holes. So now we can go ahead and we're gonna hand thread the bolts first, just to get them started. We definitely do not want to use a tool to drive those in. So hand thread each bolt first, and then we'll go ahead and tighten it down. Each bolt is hand started, so now we can go ahead and use a tool to tighten them down. One thing I want to note is that you certainly, absolutely do not want to over tighten these bolts. Let that O-ring do the sealing for you. If you over tighten these, you will crack the lid or the housing that the oil filter sits in. And at that point, you have no choice. You're gonna have to lift the deck, you're gonna have to pull the engine in order to replace that front housing. It's not a fun job, it's not a cheap job. So when you're tightening these bolts, do so gently, do not over tighten them. Think of it as you are putting an oil filter on your car. Once they are snug, that's good enough. So that's it for the oil filter. We can go ahead and tighten up everything here. So we're gonna take our engine access cover. We're gonna put the front lip on first, like so, put on our bottom lip, and then just give it a good smack, put it in place, back, and then we can go ahead and twist to lock this. So we're finished up here. Let's go ahead and go back to our oil fill and see how we're doing with the draining. All right, so you can hear those bubbles very loosely. When you hear that, it means it's no longer sucking up any oil. So now there is a special process we need to do. We have to crank the engine in drown mode, and that's essentially going to cycle the oil pumps. It's going to push more oil into the center cavity, which is where we're trying to drain from. That's going to allow us to drain more oil out. So we'll go ahead and back this guy just a tad, because we don't want to get it wrapped up in the crank. Then we're going to go ahead and put the key in. We're going to hold our throttle all the way in and crank the engine at the same time. We're going to do that for about 5 seconds. When we do that, we're essentially cranking in drown mode, which means the spark plugs and fuel injectors are not going to fire. It's only going to spin the engine, which is what we want. Now that we did that, let's go ahead and reinsert our stick. Okay, and now, pump it up. You'll see we're getting more oil. So we want to repeat this process about 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times, basically until we're not getting any oil left out of the system. So wait for this to finish. I'll do the additional cranking off camera, and then I'll show you what we need to do after this. All right, so we just finished about 4 drain cycles, and you can see that we were able to extract just under 3 liters, that is, which in my opinion is slightly overfilled. Generally around 1.9 to 2 liters is kind of the sweet spot. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. Generally, when you're doing an oil change, you want to put back whatever you take out, which is good in most occasions. However, that's only good if the amount that you take out is the correct amount. If you want to double check it, you of course will. I'll get to that at the end, actually. But in this case, I'm going to put the correct amount in, which is around 1.9 liters. So we're going to do it correctly. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and take this guy fully out. We'll put the extractor away, and then we just need to put a funnel in, and then we'll go ahead and refill our good oil. For those of you that aren't sure or don't want to be bothered with measuring, Reliable Tuning will send you the correct amount. Two of these guys here, and they have the filler necks on them. Makes it very, very easy. You just cannot get it wrong. Now that we have the oil filled, we can go ahead and take our dipstick here. We'll drop that back into place. Now, I'm going to tell you how to check the oil level. I already know it's going to be correct. I've done this hundreds of times. We'll go ahead and twist that in place. And now we'll go ahead and take our oil cap and we'll twist that in place. So I'm going to have to go back in there in a second. But for those of you that need to or just want to check your oil level, remember this is a dry sump oil system. So to check the level, it is different than checking a car. You cannot just pull the dipstick and see how much oil is on there. You're never going to get an accurate reading. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your ski is pretty much perfectly level. You could do so by the trailer, obviously, because your side rails are not going to give you an accurate representation. The next thing you want to do is run your engine. You want to run it for about 30 seconds. You want to rev the engine up to around 4,000 to 4,500 RPM for a few seconds. Then you want to shut the engine off. You want to wait 30 seconds, and then you can go ahead and check your oil level. Now that sounds very complicated, but trust me, when you do it a couple times, it makes perfect sense. It just becomes muscle memory. The reason you need to do that is because SeaDoo has determined that if you follow that procedure, that is how you're going to get an accurate representation for how much oil is inside the engine. Because remember, there's no main oil reservoir. There is multiple, plus you have oil pumps. You have 2 oil pumps. Actually, I'm not sure about the SeaDoo Spark. Kind of forget already. On a full-size SeaDoo, there is 2 oil pumps. There's basically multiple cavities for oil to sit in. Following that process is the only way to guarantee that you are going to get an accurate reading for how much oil is in the system. So now that we filled the view oil, let's go ahead and just start the ski, make sure everything is fine. We'll wake it up here first. And there you have, guys. That is how to change the oil on a SeaDoo Spark. I recommend changing the oil every 25 to 50 hours. If you go by the book, it's slightly longer. And of course, you also want to change your oil at the end of the year if you are storing your ski for winter or just long-term storage. Remember, used oil is corrosive, so if it sits inside the crank, it will etch at the engine internals. So keep that in mind. But that's it. Very easy to do. You can use pretty much any oil on a SeaDoo Spark. SeaDoo recommends using a JSO M82 certification. Realistically, you don't need to follow that. I recommend following it anyway. There's no wet clutches or anything in a SeaDoo Spark. XPS oil, AMS oil. I personally use Liqui Moly Marine. I'm using that for many, many years now. Hundreds, probably closer to over 1,000 of hours of engine runtime using that stuff. Always buy from Reliable Tuning. They always have it in stock. They always get it in quick. I could not be happier with them. So that's it for this one. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment in the video.